Several men tried to get me to say that Nelson helped me to escape. Why, I couldn't say that. Nelson would be in a heap of trouble. I knew that if you tried to help a slave escape, why, you could be fined, put in jail, even enslaved again. And then, if that happened to Nelson, he might be sent further south, and I would never see him again. Ever. No. I told him that I ran off, and Nelson heard about it, and he came and followed after me. We were sent back to Leesburg to stand trial. Our trial was in November 1846. But then it got postponed till December. And during that time, officials tried again to get me to say that Nelson helped me to escape. I was scared, but I refused to say that. I stuck to my original story. I'll never forget that day in December 1846, the day of the trial of Nelson, prosecuting him for helping me to escape. Mr. Janney was the attorney. He seemed like a really nice man, but the law weighed so heavy against Nelson, I didn't see how there was anything that Attorney Janney would be able to say or do that would prevent Nelson from being put in jail or even enslaved again. My heart was heavy that day. And I feared that they would figure out some way to force me to testify against my husband. But Attorney Janney was truly magnificent. Why, I was so impressed with his words that after the trial, I tried to recollect all that he had said. And because I had learned to read and write, I wrote everything that I could remember down on this here sheet of paper. And I've kept it all these years. You see, they tried to convict Nelson of helping me to escape and then using my testimony to convict him.
I must convince the court that Miss Anna should not testify against her husband in court, and that the court should not use her evidence.
First, Attorney Janney argued that Nelson did what he did for love. He said, love is strong, and he should not be punished because of his love.
Your Honor, love or not, this man broke the law.
Well, neither the prosecuting attorney nor the judge bought that argument. Then Attorney Janney said, if Anna is under the control of her mistress, and the mistress should say to her, if you do not give evidence to convict your husband, I will sell you to the traders and you will be carried off to the southern states. There's no fair option here. She convicts her husband and she's able to remain here. Or she refuses to convict him and she is sent south. You know how great is the dread that these people have of being sold to the southern traders. Taking these considerations into view, I trust the court will not allow Miss Anna's evidence to be taken. But the court made light of that argument too.
Your Honor, we all know that it is a point well settled in the law that the testimony of a husband or wife may not be taken either for or against each other. The law regards them as so identified in interest and feelings that their evidence cannot be relied upon.
The prosecuting attorney objected and insisted that I was a good and competent witness against the prisoner. He simply ignored the law about husbands and wives and said the law regards me as property, not even a person. He said it would be absurd to recognize our marriage relationship because it interferes with the legal rights of the owner.
There is no lawful marriage for slaves.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but how can anyone say there's no lawful marriage for slaves? She is the lawful wife of the prisoner, united in the hands of matrimony by a minister of the gospel, and their marriage is registered in the chancery of heaven.
You see, Attorney Janney went on to explain that in the opinion expressed by the prosecuting attorney, that if slaves cannot be married according to law, it would lend itself to the general corruption of morals and the most enormous of abuses.
Can it be that the whole colored population of the state of Virginia is living in a state of concubinage? Absolutely not. The intention of the law was to promote public morals, not to degrade them. The sanctity of marriage was created by God Himself and cannot be undone. And therefore,